Hi and welcome to In the Front Row, all things reactions, reviews and interviews. My name is Jamie Lee and joining me on the channel today I have the lovely Cara AnnMarie who plays Sue, one of the All Valley committee members in Cobra Kai. Welcome Cara, thanks for joining me.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no dramas. So, prior to auditioning for Cobra Kai, were you a fan of the original Karate Kid movies?
Absolutely. I was really most familiar with one. Yeah, I grew up in the 80s. I mean, that was a huge piece. It was happening in real time for, me. And it's interesting though, I think until I kind of popped onto the series, I didn't realize like how ingrained something from your childhood actually is. It really like throws you back to like how wild. But I remember really when I started getting auditions, because Sue was actually my third audition. There were two other auditions, but I actually didn't get to send anything in for those.
Yeah,
But
right.
they had reached out about two previous roles. But I remember being really conscious about I didn't go back and rewatch anything because I
Mhm.
wasn't at that time so sure how connected it was going to be. I just didn't know. And it seemed very new to me. So
Yeah.
it didn't seem like, well, maybe I should just approach this as if I don't know a ton about Daniel or any of the baggage. And I actually think once we got to set, that was a little helpful in season one because Billy's character Gianni walks into the board meeting and we don't know who he is. So
Yeah.
I am kind of glad, we have a relationship with Daniel because he's on the board. So I think it was good to maybe just approach it with a fresh eye. But absolutely, I mean, I would find it hard to find someone who wasn't a fan of
Yeah.
the original movie.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah. So did you know that Billy and Ralph would be reprising their roles?
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, my agent just emailed me with these auditions. I didn't know anything about it really.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this because I'm unsure if what we auditioned with included any bits where we said Daniel, where we were talking to Daniel. I
Yeah.
have this suspicion that it didn't, and maybe
Okay.
that was because they wanted to keep that a secret or something, because it really wasn't until we got the full episode that I kind of realized like, oh, okay, not only are we going to be with both of these really iconic characters, it's actually even more than that because this is the first time they're seeing each other again, which
Yeah.
was so wild in the moment. I remember thinking like, what an incredible moment. Like these two guys, all this time has passed. They have had the biggest beef with each other. And here we're witnessing their reconnection, and we all know how that went. And but I mean, it was really incredible to be in the room with them. They're very awesome human beings outside of their characters.
Yeah.
Um, so it was really nice to work with both of them in season one, even though they were kind of the bigger characters, they really were just so easy to work with. And that's always the vibe on the show, which is such a great work environment.
Yeah. Let's talk about your character a little bit. Your first line to Danny is a little bit, I don't want to say argumentative, but you were a little bit sassy with him. I think you said,
Daniel, show a little respect.
Respect? Are you kidding me, Sue? You don't know the history here.
This character really is responsible for Daniel showing respect now in season five. We can really see him showing a lot of respect in season five, and I
yeah.
attribute my character to that a lot. But I think just like my relationship with any of those other guys on the board, I think we all speak freely. And I mean, right after I say that, he says to me, you don't know the history.
Hmm.
Because we don't. And that's part of it, just kind of caught me off guard that Johnny's character is talking about someone who's passed on that he was close with, and Daniel is so flip about it. And it's, I think the whole board is kind of taken aback a little bit by that. But I really feel like Sue's always there to keep those guys in check.
Hmm. She has one of the biggest impacts on the show, really. When you are talking about targeting the female audience, I think you say you need to speak to that female audience. And it's from that line that, you know, this inclusion of women and females in karate got the tick of approval, I guess you could call it. And then from that, I believe that that really progressed the show. Like sometimes come towards that, you know, season 4, some shows start to get a little bit repetitive and follow the same pattern, whereas Cobra Kai flipped and it just introduced something that really, I thought, really progressed the show. And yeah, I think it's great and very awesome that you got to sort of implement that, I guess, your character.
Yeah, I am always happy. I mean, I was delighted to read that writing for me, because, you know, even just personally, I'm always happy to go, you know, go to the mats with, for the ladies. You know, I would be happy to fight for all of the rights
Yeah.
in karate and in other scenarios. But I think the writing and what they've been able to accomplish each season is so exciting and surprising. And that's why I've seen a lot of people talking about, like, is this going to get renewed, like X, Y, and Z? I think there is so much more story to be told. I haven't heard anything official, but I know the creators love this show. I know they're working on a lot of other things and they're busy guys, but I do think there is a lot more that can be done with these characters. And they, of course, have done really exciting stuff and it's constantly kind of upping, but there's many, many more directions. And I think a lot of people desperately want to see all those directions happen.
I think for sure, absolutely, because just yesterday, Sony announced that they are doing a Karate Kid movie, like a, what do you call it, a sequel to it.
Okay.
Yeah, so something has been announced. I think it's for June 7th of 2024. So I don't know whether the big three have any part of that, or if it's going to be relevant to Cobra Kai at all. Like it might just be purely about the movies. But you're definitely right that the fans want to see more of this story, and there's definitely more story to tell, I think, as well. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So do you think that that line to do with the females was your favorite one that you delivered, or do you have a favorite line that you performed on the show?
I love them all. I do like my line to George.
It's a wonder you've been divorced 3 times, George.
Because I love Kurt in real life so much, and he's such a sweet guy. So that character, anytime I can kind of bash at him, I really enjoy it.
You take that opportunity.
Yeah, I like it. I would, you know, have a full-on fight scene with him. But having gone back to season 1 and kind of rewatching, there were such great lines. I really did like the stuff with Daniel, and I also really liked Gianni's initial and introduction to us and all the corn dog stuff. I really thought that was so funny. And just kind of a wonky scenario. Like I think about what was that? Like what actually went down? So much of what goes on with the board and things that we say, it just kind of, we cruise through it. But if you stop for a minute and you're like, whoa, what actually happened? Like what's going on with you guys? Yeah. There's a lot of different things that pop up that it's like, let's take a beat and hear more about that, because something's nuts with these guys. But you know, all the writing in this show is utterly phenomenal. Anytime I bump into one of the writers, I'm like, you know, praising them with love, because the writing's so good and clever and heartfelt and funny. There, you know, then there's action. They've just combined so many things in such a good way. Like I was so into the fighting this year. It looked incredible. It looked so badass, and it's so heightened. We got to just keep going.
Yeah, I agree with you with the writing. Like I just find it so amazing that they tie things in to everything, whether it's relating it back to a line that was made in the original Karate Kid, for example, with Ali with an I, and then I think it was season 2 maybe when we meet Tori and she says, I'm Tori with a Y, just things like that, referring back to those originals. And I just think, they're very, very witty with their writing, and it's just so great to watch. And then obviously when it's delivered by you guys perfectly, like everything just fits. It's great.
I was going to tell you, I'm not sure if you noticed, because it happens really quickly in season 1. In the final episode, I come running out onto the mats and I tell Daryl that Daniel's going to coach Robbie.
Oh,
and
right.
that was a callback to Allie coming out to say that Daniel's gonna fight.
Yeah, right.
So, and that was completely on the spot. The creators just popped up and asked me to do it. And it's so funny because I had not gone back to watch the movies. So what they had said to me was like, hey, remember in the original Karate Kid? And I was like,
oh shit.
And they were like, it's cool. If you don't remember, it's fine. And then they kind of explained it. But we broke for lunch before I was going to do it. So I actually called my husband real quick and I was like, oh my God, here's what's happening. Can you go find this clip? And really fast, he found the clip and sent it to me. So I was able to watch what she did and tried to just imitate as much as I could, in that movie. But they're always thinking about like, here's a chance for us to do this. I mean, these, the big three are some of the nicest and smartest guys around. Which is an awesome combo. And it's great to see how successful they are, because those are the guys you want to win, It's like, you're awesome humans and so smart and big fans of this. Like, that's who should be in charge of these things.
That's right. Sure. And I really love that they appreciate everybody from like the top down, whether it's the top tier actors to the extras to the fans. They are very appreciative of everybody in the game. And I love hearing stories like that.
Yeah, they're great. They're great dudes.
Yeah. So what is a line that you incorporate into your everyday life from the show?
Well, I like to hash brown a lot. That's like when I'm on Twitter or something. I do like to do that. I think that's very funny. I'm constantly referring to things in the show, but something was said in season 5 that I think I'm going to use all the time. And that's when Amanda LaRusso says karate adjacent.
Yes.
I love it so much. And I'm going to use that quite a bit in my real life because it just resonated with me. It caught me by surprise. It's such good verbiage and it's just such a good line.
Yes, it's so great.
I'm incorporating it moving forward.
Yeah, they're all introducing themselves like Daniel LaRusso, champion, Gianni. Right. It's just karate.
He kind of does this awkward curtsy.
Yeah,
I think Courtney's such a funny actress, and everyone's just so phenomenal that is on this show. I just love all of their work. It's so cool to just watch all the stories continue and to be a part of it.
Yeah. So Ron is responsible for Carrie Underwood performing on the show. I didn't realize that there were 300 extras on set that day and none of them had any idea that she would be performing. Did you?
Pretty wild. Well, we knew that she was performing, but I find it to be absolutely extraordinary that was never leaked or spoiled with that many people in a room. And it was a full-on performance. I mean, she did it a number of times. He surprised them. Like, it was so wild. We knew not like a long time into beforehand, we knew as they were like placing us to set, they used just kind of a code name. But then once we got out, Josh was directing us on 9. We actually had a little scene in 10 that didn't make the show. So I actually think we must have been shooting 10 at that point. And then he was like placing us and we're all kind of just chatting. And he was like, oh, did you guys know this is Carrie Underwood, right? And we were like, oh, we did. That's cool. But and she, I mean, was absolutely phenomenal. And then she took the time to like meet everybody that wanted to meet her, and it was really cool. So I have this beautiful photo of myself and Carrie Underwood. I like to pass off
lovely.
that we're very close when people come to my house and they see this photo of myself.
This shrine to Carrie.
Right. Oh, there's just me and Carrie. We're just like,
We're besties.
yeah.
I love
This is
it.
something though.
So if you were in Ron's shoes, who would somebody that you would like to invite to perform at the tournament be? Like who is somebody that you would pick?
Gosh, you know, I was thinking a lot. This is a hard question. This is really a hard question.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. There's so many people that I think about, like, would it be someone, you know, because I think a lot about like there's really cool opportunities for cameos for people. Like I actually think the board meetings are a very cool time that they could start introducing like big celebrities who then like just get kind of abused by the board. As we did when we got a new board member to replace Daniel Gavin, and we kind of just beat up on him. A lot of those scenes didn't make it, but we eventually we had like fired him, and I mean it went really off the rails. And
Yeah,
I think
right.
we did that cameo wise. But if we did another performer, I mean, I don't know. That would take a lot of thinking. Like maybe it would be cool to have like a boy band and then like an old boy band, or you could find, I mean, people that were peak in the 80s, you know, that might be cool opportunities for like Madonna or someone to come in.
Yeah, for sure.
Although I'm going through like a very Selena Gomez phase because I'm watching Only Murders in the Building right now, and she's so wonderful. So I don't know if we would go younger, if we would go, you know, really not sure.
Yeah.
Anybody fits. Everyone's karate adjacent, I feel. So there's a lot.
So witty. You should do the writing, Cara.
Do you guys hear that? I should be in the writer's room. There'd be a lot more Sue if that was. I'd be like, Sue should be there.
Yes, yeah, definitely. I do think that there will be more of the committee. Whether it's the spin-offs, who knows? But what is something that you wish for the future of Sue? You know, do you want her, hypothetically speaking, of course, because nobody knows what's going to happen. I mean, the big three haven't even written anything yet. But, you know, would you like Kid to compete in the tournament? Would you like to run off his throne of presidency? Or what's something that you think would be fun for the future for Sue?
I would love her to fight. I have had the thought that, I mean, all the board members, we talk a lot about what are we doing on the board? You know, what is our involvement in karate? Mm-hmm. And I think all of us have past karate experience to whatever degrees. Either we competed in certain things or we, you know, and then we all have passed that down to our kids. I feel like we are involved still because we believe in the All Valley tournament and we want to really see, you know, we're trying our best, even though we're falling short, perhaps. We're trying our best to make this tournament pretty epic. But I would love, I do have a dance background, so I'm constantly watching the fight choreography, and I think it would be just the coolest to figure out some sort of sequence where the board fights a little bit somehow. When I saw in this season with the women bar fight with Amanda and her cousin, I was like, there it is. Ladies fighting. This is going to be so easy for Sue. Her in real life has martial arts experience. I think Matt and Drew and Keith would be totally down with it. Like, it would just be so fun for us to figure out, like, of course we know karate. Like, what do you think we're doing
on the
here?
board? Yeah, why do you think we're on the board?
For it to have taken so long to find out that these guys actually can fight would be just, to me, a really epic way to have this fight scene. I just think it would be so cool. Yeah, so that's actually my dream. I would happily take the gavel from Ron anytime. I think all of us would happily run it. You know, we forgave him for some of his foibles with Carrie Underwood. That was impressive, but you know, we'll see how he continues to perform. I feel like we all have really short-term memories. Yeah, you might be in our good graces right now, but
We're
We'll
coming for
see.
you,
Next
Ron.
time we see you, we'll see how it is.
Yeah. In my interview that I did with Matt, who's absolutely lovely, we did have a chat about how it felt holding the first 3 minutes of season 4, episode 6.
Yeah.
And I spoke to Matt about how you guys on the committee opened that episode. And I think it was 3 minutes worth of just you guys on the committee. And I want to know how that made you feel, because that must be like a really big testament that not only did the big three put their trust in you, but like obviously the fans really enjoyed you as well, because yeah, they were happy to see you open an episode really.
Yeah, I mean, it was so cool. It's a huge hug.
Yeah.
I think it's of course such a wonderful gift to be asked to come back and work on something. Also, because the journey has been so wild with this show. Like, we started out on YouTube, and then for it to get so popular when everything dropped to Netflix, and then for us to come back in the next season, I think was just even more rewarding. And I mean, it felt wonderful. Anytime the fans are connecting with us and really loving what we're doing, I mean, that feels just wonderful, because you can sometimes get lost out there in the world of actors. There's a lot of us, and so when anyone is applauding something that you've worked on, we do put a lot of work into getting ourselves onto a show and auditioning for the next one. And sometimes that can get brutal. So
Yeah.
anytime that we get rewarded like that is just, it's such a win, and it isn't lost on us what a gift it is. I mean, I remember coming back for 4, I was walking around just the trailers and, talking with everybody, and I just was pinching myself, really. Like, I just felt like, I can't believe we're back.
Yeah.
And they used us in the trailer, which is always such a cool thing to have a promo coming out and to pop up, because then you can kind of let people know you're coming back ahead of it.
Yeah.
Whereas beforehand we were sort of keeping it to ourselves. But it was just a wonderful event.
Yeah, for sure. You did mention that you would like to see some fighting from Sue. If you were to join a dojo, which team do you think you would be on in the Miyagi-verse, I guess you could call it?
Well, it's gotten so crazy. I mean, I guess there's no more Cobra Kai. After this last season, it's all gotten Eagle Fang and Miyagi-Do have been mixed up, like they were intermingling. I really don't know at this point, because I really like what's the Eagle Fang Miyagi-Do kind of merger
Yeah.
has been nice. There's bits and pieces that you can take from all of the different dojos that can create this ultimate maybe mindset and work ethic and teamwork. Separately, there's some challenges sometimes, but I don't know. Miyagi-Do kind of fared pretty well in the last season, so maybe I would align myself there. All that technology from Cobra Kai, though, that did look sweet. They did
Yes.
have a sweet dojo, so I did understand why. But then we all saw, but now Kreese is coming back. He's back, so who knows what's going down.
Yeah, that commercial that Terry put together, that was very impressive. They had the smoothie bar and they had the technology that showed what your heart rate was and things like this. It was very impressive. What impressed you in season 5? I know we talked off air, that you'd watched it and you're still a fan. So what was your favorite moment of season 5?
I mean, the acting was through the roof. How brilliant the acting was in this season. I loved Chosen. The addition of him was wonderful. I also think there was much more, we got to see a lot more emotion. I mean, Billy, Gianni, the just emotion that's coming out, and the acting, it's just so good. But favorite moment, I mean, I don't know, the finale was so wild and really incredible. Oh, I also like Stingray kind of coming back and redeeming himself as a
Yes.
good guy, because I do think he's gotten really tossed around in all of this, and honestly, he just wants to be loved.
Yeah.
At the end of all of it, he just wants love and acceptance and a family, essentially, you know?
Yeah.
So that's another thing that I really loved, that it was him pulling up in that car to get Ralph, to get Daniel,
Yeah.
and that Amanda was in there, and you know, it was just cool. Carmen was in there. So maybe more, you know, that moment might have been, but all the chosen stuff, it's so hard to even choose because there's so many things that are just wonderful about this show.
Yeah.
So even just saying that to you, I can think of all of these stories that I want to see more of, you know. Chosen is not gone. He's was just deeply, you know, stabbed or whatever.
It's a flesh wound. Yeah,
He's
just a
gonna
flesh
be
wound.
back. Yeah, I certainly hope so. And you know, we started to get some hints as like what's going on with his life too.
Yeah.
Whatever else that he has, and where can that journey go?
Yeah.
And that I would love to see more of that too.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned Stingray because Stingray was one of my least favorite characters. I just thought, what a strange character. Why have they thrown him in like this? I get the comedic part, but as you said, I really liked that in season 5 he had a purpose. Like he came back to redeem himself, but again with the witty writing, when Danny and him, and I think it was Amanda, as you said, go to the dojo, Terry's Cobra Kai dojo, and the group of boys come out and say, you know, you're not going in to get the kids. Danny says, I'm not going to fight a bunch of kids. And Stingray says, don't worry, Mr. L, I'll fight them. And that is a throwback to when, you know, he was a security guard at the school and, you know, he was taking the piss, I guess, out of being proud to fight these children when he was an adult.
Right.
And I think he also said it at the dojo when Gianni was there, and he said something like, you know, I'm not afraid to fight kids or something like this, which is so inappropriate at the time, but yeah, in the end game, in the long run,
but it was more appropriate now. Now we're in season 5, and now it is useful that he'll be the one to fight the kids.
That's right.
No, I think he's a great character. And to me, there's a lot more that can continue with his story as well. You know, I love the way that they are talking about good and bad. You know, we all can misunderstand a situation or misread a situation, and suddenly we're the bad guy in this situation and we can't seem to really get ourselves out of it. Or you just thought you were doing good, or you were doing something to help someone else, and that got all misconstrued, and you actually hurt someone more by getting involved. Like, they handle being human in such a great way that feels so relatable, and you can connect to it, yet it's still funny. It's kind of heartbreaking, and that's a challenging thing to do, to have these bad guys that you're still rooting for, and you will accept when they do good. And you'll see that it's just because everybody's flawed, and sometimes it's to a very extreme degree, but maybe we're all just trying the best that we can.
Yeah, that's what I love about the show, the different perspectives. You know, like Johnny was the bully in the originals, and now we see this full character arc and this transformation with him, that he's likable now. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, they're definitely really good at showing the story and developing characters, and, you know, including everybody in that. I think that, yeah, it's such a great show. And it's so great because it, as you said, it can relate to a lot of people, be it, you know, people that are from the originals back in, you know, the 80s and things like that. But even the kids of today can relate to characters like Miguel, Moon, even Sam, Tori, their struggles as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what they really have done a nice job of, including everyone in the conversation and at the table, so that, you know, I don't know how many TV shows, like my little dude's almost 2, so we're watching cartoons together, which I enjoy, but I don't know. You know, I believe that this is a show that is a conversation starter for parents to be sitting with their teenagers and be able to stop and talk about like some things that are happening in that. Like, you know, I hope that, or maybe you don't have to talk at all and it's all just getting communicated through the screen. But I had told someone else the story recently, and I just think it's so cool. I was listening to a podcast and two guys on it were discussing a relationship that they had when they were like college age. And it kind of just, one of the guys sort of just never called the other guy back. And they were really, really close. And now 30 years have passed. And this one guy has reached out and he's reconnecting and they're kind of just talking about like what happened.
Yeah.
And the older guy was saying, you know, have you ever watched Cobra Kai? And I was like, what's happening? Am I being punked right now? Like, that's so weird. But he was saying, I was like the Stingray character. I was this older guy. I was kind of lost in my own life. I didn't know where I fit in. And I liked you guys. I connected with you guys. I wanted to be a part of it, but I understand why now I didn't fit. And I thought like, that guy might have just, I mean, that was his way of helping him communicate his feelings and understanding of what had happened in his own life. That's really special.
Yeah.
For a TV show to do that and help do that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the amazing thing about film and TV is that, you know, it does impact people's lives. All right, so are you able to tell me, apart from Cobra Kai, what other projects do you have coming up in the works? I know you've got Florida Man coming up with...
I do. That's also going to be on Netflix. I think it's going to be really incredible, dark, funny. And I'm playing a doctor on it, which I'm very proud of myself for fictionally going through medical school. Thank you. It was so fast. Medical school was really quick for me. So I'm playing a doctor on that, and I think it's dropping in the fall. I got a little bit of different information from people that have worked on it, but I haven't seen a lot for it. So I really hope everybody gets a chance to watch that, because I think it's going to be, I read 3 different episodes of it and it was pretty incredible. So that's awesome. I also have another like sci-fi episodic that's dropping to YouTube called Redacted series, and I am in the 3rd episode. It's very creepy. I think it's going to be really cool, and that is just going to be right on YouTube, so everybody will be able to, everybody's on YouTube now, so perhaps it'll have a similar trajectory to what happened with Cobra Kai. Who knows? Other than that, I'm just auditioning away. I have a couple of films that are kind of traveling around and doing different festivals. And I, you know, follow me on social. I keep everybody up to date on anything you can see me in.
Yeah, well, I know we're going to see you on our screens very soon. As you said, we've got to keep an eye out on Netflix. I'm hoping that we see more of Sue in the future of the Cobra Kai or the Karate Kid franchise, wherever they take those things. I'm really hoping we see more of that. But regardless, we will be seeing you on our screens. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thank you for having me. It was an absolute pleasure to chat and meet you. Have a good night.